Welcome, one and all, to What's What Live. I'm Eric. Hello, David. How you doing?
Yes.
I'm getting all the pluster.
I'll be honest, I'm just relieved that we're actually streaming and we can hear everybody. And
Yep.
Good Lord. Hello, everyone.
If you are here because you know who our special guest is, then a very warm welcome to you. If this is your first time on What's What Live, you are very welcome. Teacup at the ready. What's what, everybody? Good to see you all. David, you had a good week?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. I've done lots of talking with the lovely Sean Cousens this week.
Yeah. Yes.
We've become again.
Me too. Sean, we got sorted out very quickly after your help tonight. Thank you very much. And we went live a few times. I will talk to you afterwards about why we were still late, even though I was sitting there saying. So, thank you very much, Sean, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for all your help in the past week and probably in the upcoming week as well. You know, we need to get going because we've got a lot to talk about.
We do, yeah. But,
let me tell you about next week whilst we're talking about the great man himself. So, Sean, apologies if I'm not. I'm using the opportunity to reach over my desk or something. Sean is our guest next week. He's a photographer, he's a streamer, he's an educator. He is so much more than that. He is a great man with a lot of great ideas. You should definitely turn up and find out more about Sean next week. There we go. All right. Anything else we need to do? Or should we just crack on?
No. I think we should just crack on. I think we've got it working. Let's just hope.
Yeah, while it's working, let's do this. Okay. Ready for my intro? I know there's going to be a stumble during today's one. Just let me carry on.
Good.
I know because I've practiced and I've stumbled every time, so bear with me.
Okay. I will try not to laugh.
Okay. With over 3 decades of experience in the realms of animation and post-production, our guest today is a distinguished figure in the world of motion design. An Adobe certified expert and a passionate educator, they've dedicated their career to nurturing budding designers, helping them hone their skills in visual effects and motion graphics. Their commitment to education is evident from their tenure as the head of the motion graphics department at the renowned Institute in Ramat Gan, Israel, and their mentorship at the prestigious Bezalel, Academy of Arts and Design in Jerusalem. We'll get our guest to tell me exactly how I should have said that. Their journey began with a unique project during their military service where they combined their background in painting and drawing to create an animated training video. This experience ignited a passion that led them to work with the industry giants like Apple, Autodesk, and Adobe. A firm believer in pre-planning, our guest emphasizes the importance of conceptualization, design, and animation in their workflow. They're also the brains behind a popular training hub, which was born out of a desire to preserve their teachings and cater to a wider audience. Their association with leading visual effects and training verticals is a testament to their tenacity, network prowess, and a bit of timing. While they keep a close eye on emerging trends like VR, AI, and 3D, they believe in its potential to evolve into a more narrative-driven medium. As they look to the future, their goals are clear: to continue educating, to create more online content, and to find a balance between their professional commitments and personal aspirations, which includes being a dedicated family person and, so I read, catching up on their favourite Netflix shows. Join us as we delve into the world of motion graphics design and the journey of a remarkable individual who stands, in their own words, at the intersection of geekiness and coolness. It's time to find out what's what with today's special guest. It's Eran Stern. Hello, sir.
Hey.
welcome.
Hello, hello. Wow, what an intro. I thought, who is this guy? I need to meet him. Sounds like an interesting person.
It's, a lot of people have had that reaction to the intros that we give them on this show. But as I say, it's all you. That's all you. Are you not aware of what you've achieved? Are you sort of forward looking rather than backward looking? Is that part of who you are?
Well, I guess it's safe to say that, I'm a very like nostalgic man. I have a room in my heart for like corners from my 80s music, mostly, but definitely looking forward. So yeah, thank you for this intro. It's really
That's okay. I'll copy and paste it and send it to you. It's fine. You can just add it to CV.
I feel like I'm like in the color of the background. I'm becoming orange, going forwards to red. So thank you again.
No, pretty well. More than welcome. Like I say, it's all you. Now, we've got to talk first of all about that way that you got into your current field. In the introduction there, I said it was in your time as military, but as people may be able to tell, you're not British by birth.
No, it's very easy to tell. I'm not. Still, I mean, I'm ready to be accepted to the. It's not the Union Jack, but I'm ready to be accepted. But I still have few steps to go. My wife is British, for what it's worth. I'm born and raised here in London, so it's even better. I'm saying London because here in the UK, all the certificates, everything, like, and I'm like filling forms. It's always the city that you were born in, and London is like a very good city to place on a birth certificate. Mine is something totally different. So mine is Hedera from Israel, which is an unknown city between Tel Aviv and Haifa. For what it's worth. So yes, most of my life as a grown-up, I spent in Israel, where I was born, raised, and did the service like everyone else. And then 5 years ago, we moved to the UK.
Okay. What brought you to the UK? Why was that move?
So my wife's parents are here, and
so when you say we, you and your wife moved here, you didn't move here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so like the full story, I've got 3 daughters. So
oh, me too.
Yeah, so yeah.
So you know what it's not like to not sleep much either.
Oh yes. Yeah, I only know how to produce girls basically. So but they're already grown up. So I've got like a 20. Hold on, like in my head there are 4 and 2, but in reality 27 and 25 and then 14. So wow. The 26 and 25 are still living in Israel. Actually in my flat, the previous one. And not both of them, by the way. I don't know why I'm giving you all the details. It's just too much information, I guess.
I've made it quite clear in the past that I'm quite happy to sit here and listen to you. So you go right ahead. You can read the phone book because I care. I'm just going to sit here and let it watch over me.
Yeah, so we moved with our youngest, as I said, 5 years ago. This is the 3 of us, and we are on our way, like commuting, flying. At least a few times a year to the Middle East, to the Levant. This is the way we are calling it, the Levant countries. Anyhow, the Middle East, and then the other part of my life, like one of the decisions that help us to one of the reasons that help us to make this decision is that now I'm a little bit closer to cross the Atlantic because I'm teaching a lot in the US. So yeah. Another minor factor that will shorten my flights from sometimes a full day, if I need to go to the West Coast, to practically like 10 hours to 11 hours. Yeah.
Oh, so it's basically nothing now.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. I always say that time flies except when you fly.
a poet as well.
Yeah,
I should tell you that I know Oliver has said hello directly to you. I know that he is a big fan as well. I was gushing before we went live. I was gushing a little bit, and I was telling Eran that I can almost hear him in my sleep because I've watched so many of his videos. So, what drew you to After Effects? Because that's probably what people know you for most, right? After Effects. So, what drew you to After Effects rather than Premiere, or Photoshop, or Illustrator, or anything else?
Wow, this is actually an interesting story. So I'm actually working with After Effects from version 2, I guess, very, very early days. I was a designer by training, and this is what I like. A print designer. So I used to work at someone place. I can't even remember. I guess 1994, something along those lines. And his name was Yossi. After a few years, he was actually the head of the department in Jerusalem in Bezalel, where I was called to teach. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Just take this.
That was the place I struggled to name, right?
Yeah. So yes, Bezalel on the Scout Mountains, if you want to be really precise. Anyhow, to cut a long story short, I remember him calling me. I mean, it didn't really. Before calling me, he was just, "Wow, I don't believe it. This is. I can't believe you can. You can do." I mean, I just heard his enthusiasm from the second floor. So I went down, and he was actually playing with the first or second copy of Cousens After Effects. Back in the days, it was only available for Mac OS. It wasn't Mac OS at the time. It was Mac System 8 or whatever, something along those lines. And I just sat right next to him, and together we actually started exploring the application with no, there was the user manual was like Oxford Dictionary thick, it was really a heavy book, but we couldn't be bothered. We just looked at the application and started moving things. And I got into After Effects in a very early stage because I'm magnetized towards things which are moving. So I just realized I can actually use it to create some short animations and stuff that I can animate on my own. And you must understand that the maximum resolution at these days was 320 by 240. So this was After Effects back in the days. One layer, one mask. I think the limitation was 4 effects or whatever, but layers were there from the beginning, before even being inside Photoshop. So I actually remember that I was working at the newspaper back in the days, and I use After Effects because it has layers and effects, right? So after, the name of the application is you're doing something after you already started the process of design, and effect, which is the second part or the surname of the application. And compare it with filters. Filter is something that you are baking into the image. So Photoshop and Illustrator used to have filters. Now they are renamed as Smart Object, which is just another terminology for effect. Anyhow, I was just blown away by the fact that you can switch things on and off. So no undo was necessary. And again, I'm talking about the days that Photoshop has just a single level of undo, same as Illustrator. I actually worked with another application, Freehand from Aldo. It was even before Macromedia days. So I used After Effects to actually design stuff for print. The fact that it can work, it could work with layers. And then a few years later, after working with Apple on a video system called Media 100, I'm not sure maybe some of you some of the viewers know what I mean.
I bet I will.
You know about it?
I'm sure they're going to chip in the comments in a second. I'm sure. I've got a feeling.
That's an obscure one, that one, Eran.
Yeah. So we used to actually sell Media 100. I worked for the representative of Apple in Israel, which was also selling Media 100. So, back in the days, there was like an agent that could sell. You didn't like go online and buy stuff. You need to go to a store or someone that can build you the system with the correct video cards and stuff. And After Effects was part of this bundle, and it was very expensive. It was $2,500 for the production premium. So there was After Effects Standard and After Effects Production Premium. And one of my roles was to convince people why they would go for the Production Premium, which had tracking, keying, and few other stuff that the Standard Edition didn't have. So yeah, this is the full answer of how I got into After Effects.
That's, we need more guests like you, Eran. I'm like, throw a question in and have a cup of tea. So you've done a lot of educating in your past. So I didn't mention in the introduction as well, Shenkar, you were there for head of motion graphics for 12 years. So you've been around education for a good part of your longer career than I thought, because we discovered that your age earlier on before we went.
Yeah.
So it's not just, you're not just an educator online, you are an educator. It's almost part of your DNA. Am I right to assume that?
Yeah, actually, I mean, there's a time when you need to define yourself with one word, specifically when you're going to customs. So, what do you do? No one understand motion graphics, motion design, visual effects. No one understands. So I narrow it slowly. I come to think about it. How can I define myself? I mean, except of being very funny with very dry sense of humor. So make sure you stay hydrated. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, I came to the conclusion that the best thing. I mean, I enjoy the most is to teach people. And this is something that I found out when I was working for Apple as, selling those systems. I didn't make a lot of new friends or clients or customers from selling the system, but the best part of my work was to demonstrate it. And then I found out that I enjoy teaching, and probably I'm doing it more or less correct. So I pursued this career, and this is the way I actually educator is even a nicer word. I was about to say teacher, but let's go with educator. I think it has a better sound.
It does.
More,
yeah. Teacher suggests younger people. In my head, younger people. Educator is more lifelong learning. There, I've said it. So I'm going to very quickly say hello to a few people that are in the chat room. Kirsty and Angus, in particular, hello to you. I'll let David have a look on the chat. He likes to say hello to everybody, but those two are always here. Kirsty is everywhere. She's everywhere, bless her. So nice to see you, Kirsty. And she's going for dinner. So that was good. All right, we'll see you on the rerun then, Kirsty. But Angus was the person that we pitched this show to, and he went, "Yeah, do it." We had been drinking, and so let's pivot back. Where do you prefer to teach, or where do you prefer to educate? Is it online? Do you have recording, or do you prefer in front of an audience and getting the sort of backwards and forwards?
No question about it. Definitely in front of an audience. There's something magical happens when you are teaching in front of people and you get the reaction, and sometimes an aha moment or a realization from someone in the crowd that, wow, what I can do with this knowledge. And this is just, it makes me excited. I can also, again, do it a little bit more freestyle, meaning when I'm like doing an online event or even recording a tutorial, I always think of the people at the other hand, and I appreciate their time. And I'm not going to just tell a joke in between, just because I think it's funny. I just want to cut to the chase. But when you are in front of a crowd, and of course, assuming you know what you're talking about and you can relax, and this is something that just happened to me in the recent years. I was very tense at the beginning. But when you are relaxed and you know your material and you can actually communicate and react to whatever people are in front of you, this is where I think I have the most fun and I really enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So yes, again, very long question to a very short answer. Sorry, very, very.
No, it's all. Honestly,
Is even better.
Honestly, it's great. It's really nice. I was saying to Eran beforehand, before we were talking, he said something, and I said, no, I said that's superb. That's really encouraging. When you're asking somebody something and they give you a lot, it's like that's a massive relief for us. No, I prefer live as well. I think I love. It's partly like why I like this, despite the various hiccups we've had today. All of the various like chat, the chat and stuff.
That's because you're sitting there going, I don't know, and me and Sean.
I'm just like, Eric.
Calm down, Eric. Stop throwing things. Do you have to use that language? That's usually your part, isn't it? Yes. Are your daughters? I've got a daughter and 2 sons, by the way. We're all 3 children people. Are your daughters creative? Are they following in Dad's footsteps?
Yes, I think yes. I think the answer is yes. So first, a short answer, like I'm in court. Yes, I swear. And then in parentheses, my oldest actually, I mean, and this is really flattering, but I will really quickly say it. She's working as a graphic designer as well as starting to do our first steps in the motion department, thanks to my training. So she actually learned from moi. My middle daughter is so talented. Like she plays many instruments. She dances. She's beautiful. She's like another talent, of course. And of course, she's a producer in a company that creates games for education. And my youngest, of course, is also like an amazing, really talented girl that went through the trauma of moving from one country to the other in I guess most of the challenging age of between 11 to 14. So you know what I'm talking about. It's really challenging for everyone. And she's amazing. I mean, she's super talented and very, very creative. And she's like my advisor when it comes to TikTok and stuff that I don't understand nothing about. So
oh yeah, no, I can relate. My eldest told me that the laughing emoji has been replaced by the skull emoji, and she was mocking people for being like very like 40-year-old mum, as she was saying, as she saw my wife's thing, which did have like laughing emojis for laughing, and so we had to be schooled on what we're supposed to be using now.
See, I didn't know this. So thank you again for sharing. I mean,
we're all learning something.
You think us group of young men that have their finger on the pulse would know things like that, but there you go.
Yeah.
What
I want to talk to you next, if I may. We're going to pivot, I think is the words we're using these days, about something you are involved in. I put it up on the screen here, the AI Creative Summit. Can you tell me a little bit more about what this is all about?
So this is a conference. It's going to be first an online conference, which you can basically join in for free if you like, starting this Friday. And then the second part is going to be on site during NAB New York. Sorry for pronouncing all the letters, but this is the way I talk. Oh, it was just a joke. I know how to pronounce the word New York. Anyhow, so I'm part of the buffet here, and I'm teaching. I'm showing how to integrate AI with After Effects, and this is actually a trailer for a new course that I just finished recording for LinkedIn Learning, and this course should be available sometimes very soon. So I finished my part. It's on their table right now, waiting, I guess, I don't know. So anyhow, this is it in a nutshell. Yeah.
There is some very recognizable people amongst
it's not going to be just about After Effects. I mean, I'm just selling myself here. So I'm doing like a shameless plug, although it's free and you can't argue it's free. But there are going to be like the many sessions over there about different AI topics. You probably know that AI is somewhat a hot topic today. Yeah, we'll have a panel there, and the speaker lineup is very impressive. So yeah, you can go ahead. I guess you will put a link somewhere, or you can just Google it like regular people do.
So the links, if you're a watcher on Behance, then you will have been able to see the links down below this. If you're watching tomorrow on YouTube, then once again, it's all going to be down below here. Absolutely, we're not going to keep that from you. And the fact that it's live, free as well, is quite extraordinary. What an amazing lineup. Good stuff. So you spoke very briefly then about LinkedIn Learning. How long have you been with LinkedIn Learning?
Wow. Also a very funny story. If you want, I can tell you the entire lineup, but
off you
go. I am with them for, I guess, a dozen of years, so at 12 years, and I actually came in through the back door. So an interesting story. I was really I at some point in time, I understood that I need to take my thing and create some sort of a passive income, as all of us want to create. I'm still trying, by the way. I didn't manage, but one of the biggest places in the world was lynda.com, which was later purchased by LinkedIn, which was later it's now owned by Microsoft. So as an Apple guy, I'm now working for Microsoft for many years. It's very ironic. So yeah, I mean, they didn't really want me in due to my accent and my bad English. They were very yeah. I didn't take it to my heart. But yeah, they just told me straight on. This is probably we are not going to hire anyone which is not a native English speaker right now. So this was, these were the days before PC was really, and by PC I mean politically correct, of course, not PC in make, right? So yeah. Anyhow, I was like, I was standing in the corner for 5 minutes, and then I realized that I'll try and chase other vendors, and I stumbled across Video to Brain, which was a Europe-based company offering more or less the same content for the European market. So they didn't care less about my accent, because they were like, hiring trainers from Germany, Italy, Spain, all over the place, and everyone had its own color. Yeah,
am I right in remembering that Video to Brain was a boxed product? You got DVD set to you. Am I remembering
at the
correctly?
beginning? Yeah, it was very, very similar to Total Training, which was, I think, the first one in New York. And this is basically how I train myself, knowing more about After Effects from the Total Training DVDs, from Brian Muffet and Steve. Oh my God, it will come to me, its last name. Can't believe I forgot it. Anyhow, so yes, Video to Brain was an equivalent EU company. And so they didn't care. I mean, they were colorblind like Adobe, so it didn't really matter for them where I am, and the most important thing is the content. So they took me, and I did a few courses for them, and then lynda.com bought them. So I found myself through the back door, through the back window, whatever metaphor you want to use, part of the official lynda.com trainers or instructors. And from there, It's all things that you can already connect the dots to yourself. So yes, and started recording more stuff, and thankfully and luckily, it was beneficial for people. And yeah, I'm still doing it from time to time. I wish I could do it more, but I have other things on my plate,
including your website. I'm going to skip over again, including your own. That's not the one. Your own hub, which is sterneffects.co.uk.
Yeah,
and you have courses there as well. So talk us through sort of your plan and what you're doing here.
So again, like 15 years ago, I needed to choose whether to turn left or right. So left was, I'm just going to say left, and right. I'm going to say left is YouTube and right is lynda.com, right?
Yeah.
So I understand early in life. So when you are like turning right, you can't go left at the same time. But now, after realizing that, I'm not going to put all the eggs in one basket, I actually started my YouTube channel at the beginning of January 2023. So curating stuff from here, there, and everywhere. And on my website, you can find, basically, this is like all of me, everything that you, in one place. So there's like a link for all of my LinkedIn Learning courses, which is the page that you are now showing to the viewers. Mm-hmm. This is what we're doing. And there's also, of course, free tutorials that you can watch on YouTube. So over here, the tutorials are basically mirroring my YouTube channel, not as updated as the YouTube channel. So if you want really the latest and greatest, make sure to follow and subscribe. Yeah, I said it.
Your daughters will be proud.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Exactly. So yes, I'm shooting in all directions, and hopefully something will catch. And sometime soon, in maybe 5 years, I will be able to start monetizing. But for now, I'm just giving. So there isn't any Patreon, there isn't any membership. This is all free. You can just go ahead and watch. And I'm trying to do it like differently from other websites. So I'm not like, I'm not going to give you a show with like, making my eyes bigger and telling you jokes and creating lots of graphics just to pull more traffic. I'm just trying to be your everyday educator, sharing my experience as a post-production worker, animator and graphic designer with the world, and hopefully this is going to help other people with their own work.
Well, I think that's going to be very nicely. I can tell you firsthand, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I really like that Donkey Kong one you posted not too long ago. That was good fun.
Yes, thank you.
The advertisement.
Was that Mocha?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Yes. Wow, you are very fluent with my content.
You think I'm just paying you lip service here, Aaron, just telling you what you want to hear? No, sir. Pleasure. If I had the funds, I would be a stalker. So I'm just saying, you're lucky I'm half a country away. Of course I'm joking, but I'm.
And Eric, as your lawyer, I advise you to move on.
Yeah, yeah. I am a follower of your work, and I'll tell you for why. And again, this isn't just giving you lip service. This is God's honest truth. Is that for the very reasons that you just put out, was that there is no, fancy sound effects and goodness knows what. This is what you need to learn. Here it is. You're going to learn it, and I go, thank you very much, and that's all you need. And so, thank you very much.
I think that's really smart too, because I think that's not going to, like the education and the wisdom is not going to age. But all of those effects, they're very much they're going to date the videos at a certain point, if you know what I mean. It's like you're gonna see things with certain sound effects, like the funny eyes or something like it. You're gonna say, okay, that was from like 20. What year are we now? 23. Yeah. I was just in 2013. I've done it again. It's like I've lost 10 years.
I really relate to this. I just want to tell you that I recorded few movies showing for one of the courses that's going to be available soon. But I was showing how to set up the After Effects interface the way I like it. And I always, instead of saying 2023, I said in the video 2013. So this is the new interface from 2013, only capturing it or catching it after the fact and doing some sound bite. So if you're looking for some sound bites, make sure to take my new course and let me know.
You should have just said, there's a mistake in there. I'll find it.
But thank you so much for saying it. Really, I really appreciate it. I'm not taking it for granted. And I'm really, I think, trying to be classic. And my brother is always saying to me, like, what will you leave after you die? So, I'm trying to like build a monument of knowledge, so to say, of a very, very, very small and specific niche for people to be able to use in the future. It's really difficult to create something which is version free. So, talk about the core stuff that are not just the latest, bells and whistles. But, a lot of people are just using features because they are there. But I found that there are many people who are using the application and don't really understand or don't really pay attention to the fact that, for example, the first and the last keyframe, or I should say keyframes, are split into half and they have different colors just to indicate that these are the first and last keyframes. So those things, if you can just point the viewers' eye and attention to this, I think are going to be worthwhile in the long run. Of course, I'm saving you like 3 seconds now, but it will accumulate.
Those are the things. Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine what we're going to be creating in 10 years' time with all those 3 seconds that we've saved up over the years.
Exactly.
They add up. You can do the maths on this. It gets crazy. You think there's a few seconds like loading time or a few seconds like deciding something. You start to write it out, and you become so much more efficient over time. So those are the really important things.
I have this conversation often when I'm teaching and I'm trying to get learners to use keyboard shortcuts. They B for the brush or B for the arrow, but they're not. They're going over. I say, you're going to get tired of this very quickly. Just get on that keyboard and learn those keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah, way more efficient.
Yeah. Do you struggle, Eran, between the different applications with different shortcuts? Whilst we're talking about things like that, which program am I in? Do I need the A key or the V key?
To be honest, I mean, for me, it's just a muscle memory already. So I'm not finding myself too much struggling between them. I also must say that working in the Adobe ecosystem is, for the most part, is very easy because a lot of the keyboard shortcuts are more or less the same. And if not, if you find something that insults you, there's always a way to change. You can find a keyboard
very true.
For you.
I don't need the sponge tool. I don't need a shortcut for it. Thank you.
Exactly.
That's what I think that's the second time on What's What I've mentioned how much I hate the sponge tool. So I have to move on quickly.
This is just secretly for you a vendetta against the sponge tool, like nothing else.
If I've never used it, and I can't imagine when I'd use it. Maybe pre-masking, filters. Maybe then.
There are so many tools in Photoshop which become, especially with yesterday, I think, or was it today? There was like the new version has come out.
Tomorrow, maybe. We're gonna.
I already got it. So maybe I'm not. I don't want to steal your thunder, but the version that also
no thunder being stolen. I'm just worried that you're going to say something you shouldn't.
No. I'm under NDA and I already burned before, so no, I'm not going to go there. I'm saying that a lot of tools are becoming redundant, especially with the latest version of Photoshop 25, which uses AI to do this generative fill, and there are like 5 new generative AI tools inside Photoshop, the new version. And I was certain that Adobe are going to will charge us something, but apparently it is still same as the beta, so it's still free. You can generate as much as you want. So tools like the Sponge, the Bob Sponge, and other stuff are becoming, part of the past. And there's like a saying that nothing leaves Photoshop, nothing leaves After Effects, nothing. This is like, Adobe trying to do their best. Adobe are very similar to Intel in this perspective, which is something that you need to, or you don't need to, but you must appreciate. They are fully backward compatible applications and company. And this is also in their heels, meaning that, a lot of things that are not supposed to be in the application are still there because nothing is leaving Photoshop. As I told you before, nothing is leaving After Effects.
If somebody sold actions 5 years ago, they don't want their actions to suddenly stop working. So
it will be in a folder, an obsolete folder or a category or whatever, but it will still be, you will be, and this is something I think, again, this is why I said you need to appreciate it, because you can trust that if you're going to take something from the archives, which is, I don't know, 6 years old or whatever, 10 years old, you will be able to open this. And this just happened to me today with something that I did for the BBC. I was able to open a project from a decade and everything worked. I got some yelling from the application that, I need to replace those things and there's a script for it. But the project opened the same way I remembered it. And this is a godsend. This is really a blessing in disguise. So yeah, enough with the metaphors. This is a good thing.
I totally agree. And as much as I detest the Sponge, I'm glad it's there, just so I've got something to hate on. Yeah, I do.
Of course, we always need something to bash.
That's it. And of course, hiding the old shapes, that winds me up as well. I've got to go and find the shapes again. I want trees. Give me trees. I want arrows. Give me arrows. Anyway, enough of that. Don't need me to whine on, do we? Excellent, David. I've been doing a lot of yakking. Sorry. Was there anything that you had in mind that you would like to talk to Eran Stern about?
Oh, good. Now you've put me into it.
Put you on the spot there, didn't I? Yes, indeed.
You have. I was not prepared for that. I was completely relaxed. And just
I'm still reeling from Eran just throwing in BBC. Oh yeah, I've been working with BBC for 10 years because I had something 10 years ago. Your client list must be very...
From CBBC, but from many years ago.
You won't believe it, but it was for CBBC for the CB, which is the babies channel.
Yes, CBBS, yeah.
So this is
that channel is important to me.
Talk about it. So yeah, let's just end it here. So I'm not sure what we can talk about it.
I want to talk about CB now. David, what did you do? What did you do for this CB?
I thought we talked about this before. There was a TV show called Who Wants to Be a Superhero? It was called, and it was I like the American version, which had adults. Our version had children. They were all kind of about like ages 9 to 12, I think, and so they all basically came up with their own little comic book personas, and each week in a remarkably cruel fashion, that one of them got voted out after like failing to perform a task or something, and they had like Stan Lee pretending he was speaking to people and stuff. He'd had these kind of pre-recorded things, which I'm assuming were all done in one go. But all the kids would get excited, and they didn't know who he was because they'd all go Stanley rather than Stanley. Just the one word, and they'd rush up. And I did.
So how many steps are you away from Stan Lee then, David?
Well, I mean, I think my name was on the credits, so we shared the credits together at some point. But I did. I don't think I drew him, but originally what happened, I was just asked to draw the kids. The final 5 had sorry, Eran, we'll get back to your stuff in a second.
Go ahead. I'm intrigued.
They had when they got to the final 5, I had to draw posters of like comic book covers of them, basically. And because that went really well, then the production team said, "Could you do the inserts? Like every time we had like the end of the scene, I would basically trace over in a comic style, like the end of the frame and then the start of the next one, and they transition and then go back into live
Nice.
action. So yeah, it's good fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice stuff.
And we've spoken a few times on this show about imposter syndrome, Eran. Is that something that you've experienced?
Obviously, all the time. I think that, well, I don't want to assume, but I think a lot of people are experiencing this, maybe suffering. So yes, I mean, it happened to me the first time I was invited to talk at NAB show, 22 years ago, 23 years ago. So again, showing my age here.
When you're just a toddler, yeah.
Exactly. Just after I learned to walk. So this just explain why I was suffering from the imposter syndrome. But yes, I think, I mean, I still have it today. So I still, from time to time, I think, yeah, well, with all the young people that are probably doing something better than me, at least in terms of popularity, I definitely, from time to time, think that, do I have something meaningful to say? I mean, is my contribution to the party really relevant? And therefore, I suffer from it as the next guy.
Yeah. We haven't sort of discussed before that it is something that a lot of creatives do get. I'm sorry that I put you on the spot there. But you did say from the first time that you did NAB 20 odd years ago, well, it just so happens, there's another slide for you. So you are back there in October. You've already mentioned New York, of course, but you were back there in October at the NAB show for 2023, right?
Yeah, so there was like two major shows right now. There was the classic one in Vegas, which used to be like, the main encore for the industry. And then for the past decade, I think they are also doing a similar one, which is not as big, but it's growing in the East Coast. And for the few last years, it was parallel to Adobe Max. So obviously, I couldn't do both of them. I tried to clone myself, but wasn't successful. So this year, luckily, I'll extend my staying in the US, and I'll see you there if you want to come. The show is free, so you can enter and you can, they're going to be like, regular. The experience of booth and the expo and many new technology, I guess, which is not synced to the show as it used to be, but still very interesting in terms of the release. I don't think any company are now releasing stuff with any mind of or with any relation to expo shows. But there will be an education platform there. And I think we are, and by we, I'm saying we, because I'm part of the organizers. I actually wrote the grid. So Future Media Conferences is the organizer of the education part, some of the education or most of the education part. And they are running 4 conferences in parallel. The biggest one is the post-production world, so post. And then there is like this vertical line. So it's either or production world. And it's like, 3 or 4 days. I can't even remember, which is very unfortunate because I wrote the grid. So I think it's 3 days, one after the other. Sessions start at, early in the morning, like 9 a.m., going through the entire day. And you can just purchase an entry card, and it's like Disney World or stuff. You can just go between rooms. Nice. And take your favorite ride and your favorite $4 banana. This is the cost of the banana in New York. It's very expensive. And then
wow.
It's always amazed me that those places that sells you food and sandwiches just outside. So
oh, I know. Yeah. That's the
I
big
shouldn't
pet peeve.
say it. I shouldn't say it. Yeah. But bring your own sandwich and just come and visit us. You will learn a lot of stuff. It's really nice, and it's like an unplug. I mean, the difference between New York and Vegas in terms of this conference is that in Vegas it's just huge classes of sometimes 150 to 200 people, and over there it's more unplugged version. So you can actually be really close to the speaker and ask questions. It's a little bit of less formal experience, and I really love it.
Excellent. And
Do you prefer the less formal experience as opposed to like the larger?
Depends. I think that it has a different energy. Like when you have like a full room, applauses from people. It's like I always tell the people that I'm teaching that I'm not going to leave before standing ovation. So just prepare yourself. It's what I require from you. But yeah, I mean it's different. I enjoy both of them, and yeah. So I find myself like having fun on both crowd sizes. So yeah. So 50-50.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Again, we touched on it. I haven't got a slide up, but you're also Adobe Max while you're over there as well. So you're very busy. You keep busy, which is nice. How do you keep on? I mean, to keep on top of my skill set, I turn to people like you. But who do people like you turn to, or what do you turn to find out what's new?
So the most important advice that I can give or share is watch at least one tutorial a day, even on a topic that you already know or think you know, because you will see someone else with a different approach and you will probably pick something out of it. So for me, a successful day is a day that I learned something new, and I always try to watch, try to find stuff which is more educating than entertainment. So, there is a balance between both of them. So YouTube, of course, and all the other stuff. So just watch and read. And then, if you are passionate about something, it will come natural. So I'm really into After Effects. I really love the application. I always say to people, and this may sound offensive, but it's not. I'm spending more time with After Effects than I spend with my wife. She knows it. We have an understanding between us.
There was a
it's
time.
not that I love After Effects more than her. It's just, this is, 8 hours a day at least. So
I remember one time my wife came to see me, and she poked her head around the office door. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just in Photoshop. She said, working or playing? There's a little bit of both, to be fair. She went, all right, I'll see you later. And off she went. So I totally understand. You learn by playing as well. So even if it's not doing something for a client and, hammering away, just do something. I remember, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody said they masked something every day just to keep their hand in at masking. And so I was doing that for a while. I say just, and I watch one tutorial a day, so I'm quite pleased. It's on Minecraft, but I do that. So I'm following in your advice.
Minecraft is great. You can learn tons of stuff from Minecraft. So everything that can inspire you, doesn't matter what. Like I like reading, I like listening to music, I like watching obviously YouTube tutorials, even stupid stuff. Mr. Beast. No, I'm just joking.
There might be a gnats of jealousy in there.
Fraction.
But I find Minecraft very good for my mindfulness, if I'm honestly. I after a hard day, I move from one computer onto another and phase out for a while. Anyway, that's enough of that. Eran, thank you very much. We're running over time. Thank you ever so much for being here. It has been genuinely an absolute pleasure. I do have somewhere your links there. To find out more about Eran, then you can find him on all the places that we've spoken about, all the places down below, wherever you're watching this, and of course, these ones here as well. Amongst many others, he is a very busy man. Thank you, Eran. like I say, it has been a genuine pleasure. One of the things about doing this is that I get to connect with old friends, but I get to connect under this umbrella with people that I genuinely have a lot of respect for. And so hopefully this will now fall into both categories. So thank you very much for being here. What I am going to ask you, we're gonna say goodbye to you, but would you just hang on for just a couple more minutes, and we'll give the Behancers their own little time with you as a little thank you for them turning up. Lovely. But for now, Eran Stern, thank you very, very much indeed.
Thank you, man.
Eran Stern. There we are.
There we go. There we go.
Not only did everything
Connection didn't blow out
well, and he was a great guest. So I mean, we are winning all the way through. Thank you very much to the Behancers. You've been very quiet today, I think, because there's been lots to listen to. But thank you to those that have there. Angus, always good to see you. Oliver, thank you very much. Always good to see you. Always good to see you as well, David. Thank you for being here once again. Keep me on the straight and narrow. But once you had to say move on. You had to use the move on.
It's just a camera.
So thank you for that. Next week, all being well, and I can't see any reason why not, Sean Cousens will be here next week at somewhere around 6 o'clock. I'm not sticking to a time anymore. Around about 6 o'clock, we were meeting with Sean, and we'll be talking about all his streaming and his photography and all that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think if one stream is going to go successfully, it's going to be Sean's one, because he will tech support us all the way through. He'll get us online no matter what.
He has tech supported us even this evening. So again, a big thank you to Sean. And that's about it. That's all we've got to mention. Don't forget to come and find us. All the links for David and myself are also down below this video, wherever you're watching it. And also there's a little extra section for a certain website, which I'm not going to mention this week because I always get touched at. But go and find that website.
Sorry, what website's that?
Well, you'll just have to go and look, won't you, sir? All right, that's it. We will see you next week. David, over to you, my friend.
See you next Tuesday. Is it going to cut?
I'll pop that in post. There you go.